Next up is Janice Armstrong, a volunteer with New Westminster's Environmental Partners, a community group that strives to think globally and act locally. Jane will tell us about her experience with Glenbrook North Community's Zero Waste Challenge in New Westminster. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's good to be here. I want to tell you about our success story, which is basically we were a group of neighbors in the Glenbrook North area of New Westminster who took on Metro Vancouver's Zero Waste Challenge, and we worked together and encouraged each other to basically try and reduce our garbage and just to see what was possible. We were also supported by Metro Vancouver and the City of New Westminster. That's our neighborhood. We're just a typical single-family residential street in New Westminster. And these are us, some of us anyways. We were just ordinary people working together to try and learn new normals. Basically, I want to tell you who we are, what we did, and how we did it. And demographics, we were 13 households. You might think that that's not a very big number of people, but the interesting thing is that there was only 26 households on the street, so we had 50% participation. 50% of the people were interested in having a look at what was in their garbage and what they could do and learning new behaviors to try and reduce their garbage. What we did, basically our challenge was divided into two phases. The first part of the challenge was the baseline phase, where we did nothing different from what we had been doing, not all our lives, but for the last little while, because we wanted to get some baseline data. And then there was the challenge part of the phase, where we did everything we could to try and keep waste out of the stream headed for the landfill. And the waste was divided into three categories you could see there. These are some of the tools we used. The first thing we needed to do was get organized. You need to make this easy for yourself. So we had all these different categories under the sink. And then we had what was called an eco shed for things that were recyclable but not picked up by the city curbside nor taken at their recycling depot. We also had composters provided by the city, green cones, they were provided by Metro Van, and then there was this pet waste thing that one of the neighbors came up with. When you start looking at your garbage, you realize what's in there. He had 8 pounds a week of doggy whatever, so he came up with a solution. So, okay, we've heard this term before already today, rethink. These are always, are listed in a descending order of priority. Well, rethinking is way up there, and that's basically what we did, and it's sort of a paradigm shift, and I think that's what everybody is coming to the conclusion. That's why we're all here. But rethinking has such a huge effect on what we were doing. We had to rethink how were we handling the waste we were creating, and were we putting it where it belonged? That's sort of what that previous slide was about, were the tools we were using. And rethinking, what can we do to not create the waste in the first place? Basically, like the guy with the doggy whatever, you have to look at what makes up your garbage and figure out how to keep it out and make decisions on maybe you say no to a certain purchase, or maybe you do things differently. That's what we did. Okay, so what did the numbers show? We've got some numbers here for you number lovers. The bottom line there is Metro Vancouver's 45% diversion rate that is currently happening. Our group, for some reason, we were already diverting about 60%, 60 to 65%. That first 5 weeks is our baseline data, and you can see literally overnight it shot up. Once you get the organics out, that was the biggest thing, was the organics make such a big difference. And here's another way of looking at the numbers. The black line across the top is the average weight, 10 kilograms for Metro Vancouver area. We were below that to start with. We were between 7 and 8 kilograms per week per household, and it just dropped in half overnight. Oh, and on that previous slide, like I said, I gotta go back to that. We were about 60%. You can see we achieved 80% diversion. That was an increase of 20%, and you don't have to wait till 2015. We did it overnight, in a week, once we had the infrastructure in place and we were allowed to. Oh my goodness, I got 39 seconds left. Okay, here's one success story. That is one family's garbage for the 8 weeks. It fit into one garbage can there. The city would have taken 16 cans of garbage. So it'd be nice to have some options about the frequency of pickup. Obviously, they don't need weekly pickup. And this is our best success story. Come on, there it is. And I like to bring this because, oh my goodness, this is such a hands-on thing. One of the families, they saved me their garbage for 8 weeks. 2 people. Here it is. It weighs less than my shoe. Like, come on. Anyways, that was nice of them to save it. Our conclusions, you could read them for yourselves. There was lots of good things that happened. And I just put on the bottom 2 points that if you want our beautiful 40-page report, you can go on Metro Vancouver's website, and it's there. And we also had a blog where we kept track of what we did. Thank you very much.